Look through them yourselves. And they didn't put them in these categories. I did. They just had 34 or 36. I've categorized them kind of. Okay. They had a bunch that related to interpersonal and small group behavior, because there's an interpersonal and small group literature in the comm literature and the psych literature that you can pull from. That's pretty well known stuff about how people treat each other. For instance, praise is better than blame, and flattery is even better. So if your machine says, "You dork! You screwed up!" You don't like your machine near as much as if your machine says, "I'm really sorry. I had a problem with that process. Let's try it again." You feel better about it. Right? Because if a person said that to you, you wouldn't feel as good. It works the same. And that's how they tested it, actually. They had the person they were interacting with, which was a machine, say there. Then there were some general comm findings, just sort of based on the communication literature that isn't specific to a given area. Specialists are thought to be better even when a machine, for example, this was one of my favorites. They gave their two groups. They said to one group, "Now you, I have some math problems I want you to solve. And I'm going to sit you down at a mathematics computational device that's specially designed to solve the problems that you have to solve. Okay? And you're also going to sit down and do this test, but I'm going to set you down at a computer. And then you would go do the tests, you would work out the math, and then turn in the results. And then they would give you an opinion survey about how you felt about working with that electronic aid. And imagine who felt better working on the math problems. The person who had the specialist machine, which of course was a computer, which was the same machine that she had. Okay? But it was described to her as a specialist computational mathematic machine that solves problems like this. Right? We like specialists. And then there were some mass media findings, some of which are particularly relevant to us. Motion gets attention, prepares for action. There's some stuff that we knew about how media works that also continued to apply in the new media area. Okay? So that's what they did. And generally speaking, over time, if you read the book, you reflect on what they found. It's a little bit older now. Most of it holds up pretty good still. People still kind of try to treat technology in a sort of natural sort of way. So designers need to think about what those factors are and kind of design that way, because that's how people are going to use them. They find them too destabilizing, and they're not going to be able to use them as easily. Some of it sometimes doesn't hold up. I have an example to share with you that you'll be pretty familiar with that doesn't hold up very well. There's been a lot of work as to, whoops, I can't do it quite that way. There's been a lot of work as to how audiences respond to PowerPoint. You know, there's been proposals that PowerPoint sucks and breaks down communication between people, a lot of issues. There's been some studies reported that that even the animations, that PowerPoint is so difficult for folks for many reasons, that even the animations that are in it don't raise comprehension. And the general principle would be that motion prepares for action and gets attention, but for some reason folks have become kind of reverse acclimated to PowerPoint such that those animations don't even help. They lower comprehension, they distract. So not all of the findings always hold up, right? Sometimes there's some counter material in the literature. But generally speaking, it holds up pretty well. Here's another one. Oh, I didn't get it that way. Why not? Let's see. Oh, that's because it's the wrong... No, I got the wrong piece there. I apologize. That's not what it's supposed to be. Here's the one. So, you're all familiar with WebMD and all of the other places that you can go and have interactions with, you know, medical information. Okay? And the problem here, of course, is that we often misdiagnose ourselves with this stuff. Physicians would rather have you come see them first, have them get you in kind of a ballpark, tell you what to kind of go out and look for, then have you go out and look. Because what happens here is, generally speaking, folks will go out and they'll find symptoms that are generally more severe than what they actually have. They kind of scare themselves with what they find, because the stuff that's out there is way more broad than what you're probably infected with. And they find that stuff, and then they worry about the really, 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 really big stuff. Okay? So the interposition of the media in this case seems kind of natural and like people like, but it isn't. It really isn't like the interaction you have with your doctor at all. Okay, so the media equation says people sort of like to have these interactions in a natural kind of way. They treat machines like people, generally speaking, like they would expect people to act. Reeves and Nass, by the way, are the authors of the book. Their names are at the bottom. You can read the book if you want to. If you read one chapter, you'll understand the description that I've given you for it. So